Abd Allah, Teacher, Healer, a sequel to the book And It Was Told of a Certain Potter, written by Walter C. Lanyon in Carthage, Missouri, on 1921. This book is lovingly dedicated to the thousands of readers of my books, with the sincere hope that the message which I have tried to give will be received by them. Many of you I know either personally or by correspondence, but to all of you I say, be of good cheer. There is nothing that cannot be overcome by truth. Prove all things, and hold fast to that which is good. Chapter 1. Behold, the day breaketh. As Jethro came through the low gate, he saw Abdullah working on a vase. It was a lovely thing to behold, large and of a color, heavenly blue. The graceful arms of the potter embraced the vase as he painted upon the clear field clusters of almond blossoms. Jethro stood for a moment watching the potter turn from his vase to the cluster of almond blossoms, which almost touched his bare brown shoulders. The almond tree stood covered with its mist of silvery whiteness against the clear sky, and the wonder of the day, morning, hovering over all. "What a glorious vase," he said, "and how perfectly you are getting the sky and the almond tree into it. When I look at it, the one becomes lost in the other." "As it should be," said Abdullah, not looking up from his work. "When you have a perfect concept of something, it is easy to reproduce it." "I suppose the most difficult thing then is to acquire the perfect concept," continued Jethro, gazing from the vase to the sky and tree, and back again. "It is not so difficult as it is exacting. Many people grasp at things and think to reproduce them, without understanding much more than the surface covering. As a result, they have a lifeless thing, as the child when he attempts to draw the picture of a man. As he matures with study, he finds that a study of the structure and anatomy of man enables him to paint something beneath the skin that makes the thing more lifelike and natural." Jethro listened intently. "It is as some of the students who come for instruction. When you tell them that they are perfect because God is perfect, they immediately rush away, feeling that they have the whole science in their grasp, and are disappointed when they cannot reproduce, even in a small way, what they have learned. We must study and ponder and learn the simple lessons before we do the larger ones. I do not want to be discouraging to the student, for the moment they hear the truth spoken, there is some demonstration that they can make with what they know. But they were only willing to demonstrate that truth, and not try to demonstrate things that are beyond their ken. At that time, they would rise to glorious heights on a solid foundation of truth, which they had erected themselves, and which could not be swept away by the storms. Many times, a student has made a beautiful and spectacular demonstration without supporting it by solid evidence, and when the testing storm dashes against the house, it fell and left him a wreck on the sands. I have heard you say to the class that simplicity is the keynote to truth, and yet this all seems confusing to me. It should not be so. When the seed of truth is first sown, it has in it the promise of a rose, but it has certain steps and stages to go through, and when it has performed these stages, it will just naturally open in all its glory. If it is forced, and at last opened by mistaken, loving fingers, it fails utterly, because it had not arrived through steady growth at the place of demonstration. There is never a moment when the truth seeker cannot find something wholly within his ken that he can demonstrate over. Only the problems that we are able to meet at that time confront us, and if we work these out, persistently clinging to the fact that we are growing to the light, there will be larger things to prove, and grander proofs will come to us as we go along the way. A soft, cool morning breeze showered almond blossoms over them. From the distance called the first morning birds. Out of the east, the sifted gold of morning sun was changing the purple into shell pink. It was the natural time of prayer and thanksgiving. And so the boy took his harp and sang his morning hymn, while the potter sat in silence, meditating on the wonders of life, its beauty, its happiness. The heavens declare the glory of him, who made all things. Each day repeats the story. Each night its tribute brings. To earth's remotest border his mighty power is known. In beauty, grandeur, order, his handiwork is shown. The sweet, warm voice quivered and fluttered on the air, like some delighted butterfly, and then became silent. They sat for a while in silence, with eyes raised to heaven, and with hearts full of gratitude as they prayed, and felt the impetus of their prayers rush into them. And Abdullah read from the sacred scrolls, "Fret not thyself because of evildoers, neither be thou envious against the workers of iniquity. Depart from evil and do good, and dwell forevermore. The righteous shall inherit the land, and dwell therein forever. The law of God is in his heart, and none of his steps shall slide. For the kingdom is the Lord's, and he is the governor among the nations." After the reading had finished, the boy sang again, "In daily contemplation of thee I take delight. O let my meditation lay hold of thee aright. Aid me in the suppression of idle thought of work. Keep me from all transgression, Redeemer, strengthen, Lord." "And so be it," finished Abdullah, as he turned again to his vase. "If everyone in the world would sit for a few moments of rejoicing at the beginning of the day, before they began the contact with their brothers, they would go through the happy day moving mountains of error or evil. Prayer in the morning is like tuning an instrument before you begin playing on it. Some people arise and hurry out unprepared. When a storm comes, they hope to quiet it with sweet harmony, but passing the hands over the strings of their instrument, they find it out of tune, and the storm rages on while they try to tune it amidst the roar of mortal thinking. How much better had they paused for a moment and put it in harmony with praise and thanksgiving at the beginning of the day. This is what fortifies us against the strife of the world. This is being prepared to meet the lions in the street. This is what makes our passing as that of exquisite music. A few moments at the break of day, alone with their Creator, acknowledging, giving thanks, receiving instructions. That is what makes the day as a golden globe, wherein no shadow or worry lies." He turned again to his vase. Jethro watched him as he worked, constantly looking at the spray of blossoms near him. How often he turned to them to be sure he had their right size, color, and shape. He was a true artist. As if he sensed the boy's thoughts, the father spoke again about the vase. "When a man has a perfect concept of anything, it is not difficult to reproduce that thing. Now for years I have had the almond tree with me, and have studied it in all its changes. I have come to know the silvery whiteness of its blossoms, as distinguished from the bluish white of other flowers of the morning. I have gained a perfect concept of it, and I am producing it here on this vase that it may go into the city and bring with it a breath of the country, of the open. But suppose, for instance, instead of this inanimate vase, we take the body, or temple of man. We pass hundreds of men daily who have not the true concept of what a perfect body is or should be. Their drawings are bad. I always feel as though I should like to erase their drawing and start a new one for them. I instinctively want to give them the true concept of health or joy and happiness, that they may picture it forth on the temple and make it a glorious thing, a thing of beauty and a thing of use. There is a grand and glorious law governing this all. It is the blast upon the trumpet, which shall awaken the dead. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. So simple that it seems difficult. People pass it by every day without noticing it. They will say to you that it is all theory, that there is nothing true about it, never stopping to consider that the very sick thoughts they are holding are manifesting and proving to them the truth of this statement in a way that should make them leap up into understanding. And yet how simple when a man does waken and sees that his thinking has made him or brought him where he now stands. He immediately starts the reversing process, and if he faint not, he shall see results. Some are discouraged because they cannot change the conditions at once. They forget that they have sowed and harvested for years crops of error. They expect to come to the field and sprinkle wheat over it, and see an immediate fruitage, forgetting for the moment that that very field has been thickly sown with tears. But the true overcomer recognizes that the law which he is now putting into operation for good is the very one that he has been distorting and using to produce evil, and that the weeding process must now begin, and the constant planting of good thoughts, good deeds, and words. This is all a glorious work to the overcomer. No matter how great the problem before him, he moves towards it, and as he does, he finds plenty of proof that he is gaining each day, until he at last finds that the steep hill over which he had to go has diminished and faded away, and that after all, it was made up of countless little steps, which when taken day after day, finally brought him to the height of attainment, without ever tackling the thing as a whole. O ye of little faith, why will we go on, failing to do the little things? For of them the big things are made. If we are to move a mountain, we must begin by taking away some small portion of it. Every grain of dust has to be moved before the whole mountain will be put away. And it is the realizing of this that makes the work worthwhile. We can begin just where this finds us and take away the obstacles which confront us today. Perhaps this is the tendency to think discouraging thoughts about the possible outcome. Maybe it is a mental laziness, or maybe it is a feeling that my problem is greater than yours. But anyway, whatever it is just a little grain of dust which must be moved away today, so that tomorrow more debris can be removed. And at last, by daily cleansing and putting away, we will find the mountain has been entirely moved, and that we have attained the heights of demonstration. And one of the greatest aids to accomplishment is the morning prayers, the morning bath, we might call it, when the mind is washed pure and clean from evils and set right for the day. When the perfect concept comes to man, he gradually begins to show it forth in his life. He begins to realize that he is something more than a reflection. He begins to identify himself with the Father within, and not with the body. Jesus did this constantly. He was always one with the Father within. I and my Father are one. He never associated himself with the body. The body was where the concept was being worked out. It was as the canvas of a master, where he drew his pictures, had his demonstrations, and made manifest the Word. The Word became flesh and dwelt among them. You are more than body. Body is not man. Man is the something which cooperates with the Father within, and which controls the body, absolutely. Do you mean that man is not body? Broke in Jethro. That is exactly what I mean, replied Abdallah. There is nowhere any authority for such belief. Man is one with God. Man is the thing which has authority and dominion. Body never had dominion over a single thing. It is the animating influence, the mind which was also in Christ Jesus, which did the work, and that is what we are. We are the very power which moves and controls the body. It is our canvas upon which we can see the Word made flesh. It is our practice ground. "Now I see," said Jethro. "Now I see how we have dominion, how we have authority. Always heretofore I have thought of a man as body, not especially the material body, but just as body, and I can see how utterly impossible it is to make demonstrations with such a belief. We are divine, heirs, sons. We are not bodies. We control the body by our thoughts. We trace upon it what we will. We fashion it as we desire. We find with this new grand freedom that we escape the body, or bondage. It is as if it were something which we held from us. It is only a concept of what we are holding in mind. It is just like that vase. You are not in it, and it has no control over you. Yet you can fashion it, paint it, decorate it in the manner you like. You hold it from you. Though it crashed to earth, it would in no way affect you, for you are one with the Father within, and have power to take it up again. I have power to lay it, life, down, and I have power to take it up again. You are the divine spark which is the true man, and which is a little lower than the angels, endowed with authority and power. It is very glorious to come into this dominion, to hold the body away from us, as it were, and not consider it a factor in our lives. It is very wonderful to consider it as a vase upon which we, the potters, through our association with the Father within, can trace designs of beauty, can control it perfectly, never to be troubled with it, never to be in submission to it, or to listen to its complaints, for the clay cannot reply to the potter. Eternal mind the potter is, and thought the eternal clay. Then our bodies are thought, and the eternal mind is the mind with which we are one, and with which we operate and control the clay or thought. I wish everybody could see this and handle their bodies after this manner. It would put to naught all sickness and misery in less time than anything I know of. Once they regarded their bodies as a detached sort of thing, upon which they were working out the design of their highest concept. They would hear no complaint from it, for they would be in authority. And while Jethro talked, Abdallah had painted into his vase a butterfly of pale gold, resting ever so lightly on the almond branch. Oh, how beautiful it is! How lightly it touches the blossoms, and how full of life, said Jethro, coming nearer. It is your inspiration, that wonderful thing which never more than touches matter and feeds among the lilies. Chapter 2. Sarik the Rug Maker. As Abd-Allah and Jethro proceeded on their way towards the temple, they passed the dwelling of Sarik, the rug maker. He sat in the open court of his little dwelling, working on an exquisite Bukhara rug. The man and boy paused, then entered. Sarik rose and greeted them. He was proud of the beautiful work before him, which was nearing completion. Its deep rose hue was like velvet against which rested geometric designs in turquoise and deep blue, edged about with black and ivory. "What a magnificent piece of work," said Abdallah, running his fingers over the velvety texture. "It is perfect." Sarik smiled graciously. "It is a prayer rug for Adana. See, here is the filfut, the good luck sign," and he pointed a brown finger to the Greek cross, which was ingeniously woven in the corners of the rug. Abdallah smiled at him. A good luck sign in a prayer rug seems unnecessary, especially if one knows how to pray. "It is," said Sarik, "but this is an order." He rubbed his fingers over the rich surface of color, and not many people have yet overcome superstition and fear of signs and omens. "That is true," said Abdallah. "I have known people who knew the truth to cling to many superstitions. For instance, some of them imagine for thinking for a moment in silence, and then placing their hands on a certain part of the sacred scrolls, that they will find an answer to their prayers. This is the rankest kind of superstition. It is a belief in a separate God. Sarek listened. He was a student of Abdullah, and often sat in the crowd which massed about the gates of the city when he talked. "Do you mean, then, that we are not to go without ourselves for our help?" "That is exactly what I mean, for there is absolutely nothing outside of you that can help or harm you. Not that which goeth into a man, but that which cometh out defileth him, and it might also be added, makes him." The good luck signs and omens, the superstitions and fears which men bow down to, have no power either for good or for evil. It is simply the attitude that the mind of the man takes toward them. If a man has a good luck charm or peace with him, every time he thinks of it, he thinks of good luck, and this has a tendency to attract things towards him that would not otherwise come his way. But when he is under the ban of such material thinking, there are also so many counter and cross-counter laws to operate against him that his sign usually amounts to nothing. If he believes in luck, he must also believe in disaster or ill luck, or else he would not need a charm or sign to protect or drive away the ill luck. When a man comes to truth, he should learn, first of all, that the glory of truth is the understanding that there is no separateness between him and God, and that he need have resource to no other sign or wonder than the mind of Christ that is within. You cannot imagine God stopping to such absurd things as are believed in. For instance, some of the most advanced thinkers accept in part at least the signs of the zodiac, and suffer from the predictions made by its adepts. Would it be reasonable to imagine God as the creator of law, and then have him transfer this to a number of stars, etc., and imagine the intricate mass of laws, which cross and recross to meet, or put in operation, the millions of destinies which are supposed to be under their control? It is unthinkable. It is impossible to grasp such a complicated form, and especially when you realize that it completely rules God out of his kingdom, and puts the control of the universe and man into the hands of stars. Yet many suffer both, directly and indirectly, because of their faith in these things. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. If he believes that these things have power over him, they certainly will have power until he suffers enough from the experience to wash his hands of it all, and turn to the glorious fact that he is not separate for one instant from God, who is the only power. This is worthy of a quiet half-hour's meditation, this fact that God and man are one. It may seem big on the surface, but pause for a moment and think, I am one with God. Then think what God is, and feel the sweet assurance of your unity with God. A great cloud of worry and anxiety will be lifted from your shoulders, and you will be freed from the belief of signs and omens, or even the blind belief in looking for a sign in the sacred scrolls. "Abdallah," said Sarkik, "I have often been guilty of this. I have often prayed in silence, and then placed my hands on a part of the scrolls and read the verse, endeavoring to get a direct answer to my prayers. But had I stopped to consider it, I would have known that it is just as material as it is to place your hand on this Greek cross and expect something good to happen. Truth is founded on a principle, and though you hold your hand on the principle all day, it will not work out a single problem. What is required is the application. Of course, when we pray, the answer is given us, and also the way to put it into practice, and we need no further sign. If we could only see the importance of thought, and how valuable it is to govern it, absolutely. I presume that if people knew what thought really is, They would be amazed and open-eyed with wonderment at the fact that a thought is as powerful as a deed, and sometimes more so, said Abdallah. It would revolutionize the world if everyone knew and followed this. There are many things now that you can think that you would not put into action for the world. Yet in some vague way, every thought comes to fruition. Perhaps you can destroy its effects or uproot it before it comes to light, if you are alert. But think of the wonderful peace of mind when you realize and practice the theory that every thought is as powerful or more so than a deed. It will furnish you with a protection and help you have not yet known. Our prayer should be, Lord, that I may receive my sight, the sight which will enable me to see these things and put them into practice, and rid myself of this superstition which throws a mist about everybody. Let us learn to live, not only near God, but in God, and know that He is present at every conversation and sees the thoughts of men as readily as you see the rug before you. It is a happy thought to know that not one good thought or word is ever lost, and that it must bring fruitage after its kind. It stimulates us to more careful thinking, and hence acting. Only think what it would mean if men would realize that with the very next thought, they were going to draw every thought after that from God. And yet this is divinely possible when we realize the glorious oneness of God and man. Suddenly we would come into the knowledge that a changeless God could not be the father of changing man, that the superstitious belief of growing, maturing, decaying, and passing on is naught, but a belief of life in matter instead of in God. For in Him we live and move and breath and have our being. God is waiting to manifest Himself to you, and you can manifest just as much of Him as you desire, by clinging to the knowledge that you are one with Him and that He is changeless. Age fades away. It is nothing, for the changelessness of life makes no record of days and nights or man-made years and months. Ah, this is a glorious thought, and one well worth sitting in silence with. I and my Father are one. You have heard it for years, yet when you ponder it anew with the thought that from the next thought, I am going to think God's thoughts, it will reveal in you a newness of life and purpose you have never known before. The still small voice of which so much has been said will finally become the only voice as you begin to realize your oneness with the Father within. At first, the din of mortal thinking and living will cry loud for an audience. It will present evidence and facts to your attention, but as its voice is stilled by the inner turning, it will finally become so weak that it cannot be heard. Then every time you turn within, you will hear only one voice, and that will be the still, small voice, which will guide you into all truth. For the still, small voice guides, points, lights, and shows the way you are to go, without confusion or fear. Now, when a seed is cast into the earth, it first dies, and as it falls away, the new life comes to light. Thou fool, that which thou sowest is not quickened except to die. When you enter the inner silence and plant the thought of your oneness, the old life of separate living will die and the new one spring into birth. And the new life, God giveth it body as it hath pleased Him, and to every seed his own body, so that the renewing and regenerating of work done this way shall be productive of results. There is a reason of your being just where you are in the great plan of God, and it is your place to reject all suggestions of doubt, of fear, discontent, and to listen for the instructions which you are to receive, not from an outside teacher, but from the greatest teacher in the whole universe, the still small voice, which will guide you into all things and show you all things. if you are willing to listen for it and be guided by it. It knows better just what you need than anyone else does, for it has been with you through all your progress. Then reject the thought that you are not in your right place, that fate, destiny, or circumstances has bound you. The moment you realize that the law of God is operative within you, you will see what that law is. And if it means for you to go out from your present place, it will also furnish you a pillar of cloud by day and a fire by night. And there will be no need of taking thought from the journey, for everything will be supplied. Can you believe this? Can you have faith enough to turn within and declare your oneness with God and see it work out in perfect harmony in your life? Even as I speak, I am guided in what I say to you, because I declare always the Father within, and give to you the message that he speaks to me. It shall bless you as it blessed me, and it shall not return to us void, but shall accomplish. It is God that worketh in you. Please note the location, in you, and then cooperate with him and do his bidding. The real work that you have to perform is to express God. That is the reason you are here. You are to express God, and now you will understand why you should search the Scriptures, and know why, for in them you think thee have life. As a man thinketh in his heart, so he is. The place this message finds you is the place you have created for yourself, either by right or wrong thinking, and you can change it by consulting the still small voice. For in a twinkling of an eye shall all be changed. I wish, said Sarek, that Adana could have heard your talk this morning, Abdullah. He would never more turn to the stupid symbol of good luck, but would have grasped the principle back of overflowing goodness, which floods our lives with more than we can accept. The rug will bring him great joy, said Abdullah. It is a thing of beauty. Its exquisite colors, so perfectly matched and blended, are a lesson of harmony and quiet, and show the mind of the maker. And perhaps the principle which you have woven into every stitch and tied into every knot will someday reach out to him and make him see the true God, who knows no such a thing as luck. Chapter 3. Treatment. There was a gorgeous array of color as the men assembled for the evening talk of Abdallah. They came from the four corners of the city, each bringing a beautiful rug upon which to kneel or sit, their long flowing gowns and turbans making a particularly attractive picture against the somber gray of the walls. Presently the warm, sweet voice of Jethro was heard singing, while he played his harp. Call upon the Lord, and he will answer thee. As the music died away, a hush fell over the assemblage, as Abdullah took his place before them. My friends, he began, I shall speak to you tonight on the subject of treatment. It is a vital thing to speak of, for it is the practical appliance of prayer, and is a thing which concerns us all much. There are as many kinds of treatments as there are kinds of prayers. Some beseeching treatments, some defiant treatments, some, I've done my part, now do yours treatments, and some practical application of the word, which heals instantly. After a child has learned to read, there is no need of having him recite the alphabet every time he begins to read, to make sure that he has not forgotten anything. He has advanced from single letters to groups of letters, and from groups of letters to groups of words, phrases, and from phrases to completed sentences. And this same thing is true in treatment. As a man advances in the knowledge of what treatment is, he ceases to go round and round to arrive. He makes a short direct cut and hits the center of the first shot. The way to begin a treatment is by denial, a quick, sharp denial of the lie, as if by one swipe of the hand you wiped out the existence of a mistake on the blackboard, or removed the dust from a chair. This denial would not be labored or difficult. It should be with authority, and yet with no acceptance of the condition as a reality. There is nothing to fight or to fight with, for all is harmony and peace. After the quick denial has been made, the next thing is to back up your denial by the affirmation appropriate to the condition. It is a good thing to discipline the thinking and to train the mind so that it will call forth the direct antidote for error. In materia medica, certain things are used to antidote others, and a wise physician will have these at his fingertips. The same thing is true in overcoming. There are certain statements, when understood and properly applied, will act quick and get results. I do not wish to convey that one must stop and search about for the particular thing or thought which will counteract the trouble. He should so train his thoughts in times of peace and poise that when the storm breaks, he has himself prepared to meet any emergency. Do you know that within the sacred scrolls, there is something that will antidote every error of the flesh, and you can find and use it. You can catalog these things as you study and make them yours, so that when the evil times come, you can defend yourself. As an illustration, we will take a test case. Suppose a man were to fall and sprain his leg. What affirmation after the denial of no accidents are possible to God's man would you make? They shall bear thee up in their hands, lest thou dash thy foot against a stone. Can you think of a more complete treatment than that? Is there anything that is not covered, and wholly covered at that? If this statement is applied quick enough with the proper understanding, it is much more apt to bring about an instantaneous demonstration than had the person begun with the statement, God is good, good is God, God is all is good, etc., etc., until he came to the place that he could say nothing evil can come from God. We know that wonderful things have been done by this crawling method of reasoning, but now we are no longer babes in thought. We have grown up and have come out from among them, and we are now about to come into our authority and dominion when the word is spake and it is done. When you treat, you enter the secret place, and there you find the Father within. You ally yourself with him and speak the word of healing to any evil or wrong condition. Do not be afraid to say, I will come and heal you. There need be no fear as to who does the work. Jesus used such expressions freely, and he told us to follow after the example set for us. When you are called to help, it is because your light has been shining bright enough to make an impression on the pilgrim who is seeking help. Then do not deny anyone this help. When anyone reaches out to you, they want your aid, not someone to whom you may refer them. And another thing is this, that they can get the help they are seeking from you. They have, in their limited way, been led to the place where help lies. And if it be you, do not deny them this, else, if you deny me, I will also deny you. Remember that in serving the least of these, you have also served me. As we go further into the promised land, we see that every thought, either good or bad, bears fruitage of some. Every idle word shall be given account of. And we begin to guard our thought and action, as we would the pearl of great price. And well, too, for this guarding saves us endless work later on. Do you know that it is the material senses that close the doors between you and God, and that gratitude is the flood tide of love which forces them open? The grateful mind has little to overcome, because it makes little of the material problem. There's a very complete sense of happiness when we realize that God is working out his holy purpose in you, and that we are the consciousness of him, and are here wholly to express him. Again, I bring unto your mind the importance of clearing the mind in the morning. Relax, let go and bless everything. It has been said, and truthfully too, that the man who can keep his mind sweet until 10 in the morning will meet no further obstacles during the day. This I believe, for during that time you have so fortified yourself that there is no possible chance for error to become real to you. When I awake, I am still with thee. When I awaken from the dream of the unreality of material thinking, I find that thou art there. And this blessed thought that God is always where he was and is already ready to cooperate with us makes us want to keep close to him. Start the day right. Cleanse the mind of all hatred, fear, strife, failure, and discouragement. You have before you a new, perfect chance. There is nothing that can mar it but your wrong thinking. In schools, we learn that the two laws generally primary with man are these: the law of self-preservation and the law of self-interest. We do not have to stress the fact that this is true materially for all about us. We see it. But turning spiritually to man, we find that the same thing is true there also. We are constantly working in truth to have better health, more riches, better homes, and more peaceful surroundings. We are constantly trying to bring more of the Christ power into play in our lives. And this is right too, for there is no way to help more than by making ourselves strong and well. When you manifest strength and health, you are a living example of your faith. When you manifest supply and abundance, and at the same time follow close after the Christ, you're only bringing out one of the divine laws. To be perfect, man must bring out all the various phrases of mind. We must be every whit whole. In order to have, we must give. The open mind can receive more than the closed one, and the same is true of the hand. If your mind is shut up, grasping the seed of truth, it cannot grow, and consequently, it cannot multiply. We must give to have. Pour out your love abundantly to everyone that asketh, and it shall come bounding back to you tenfold. I have never known this to fail. I have always received tenfold for everything that I have given out. If I give health through the understanding of principle to another, I by that giving get a better sense of health than I had before. Every time I can prove the law of God for another, I am more convinced that it is the truth, and I'm made that much stronger in the truth. The old idea of sacrifice is but the new idea of giving. The thing that we offer up is that which we get back tenfold. There is a law back of this. If you are afraid to give, it is a sure sign that your consciousness of God is very smooth, and that you believe you have wrenched away from him all that you can possibly get, and that you will not let it go. If you know that you are a medium and channel through which all good flows from God to man, you will know that as long as the channel is open, there is plenty of substance to flow through it. Fear not. It is your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. The kingdom is within you, and you can possess it by entering into a co-partnership with God, by asserting your birthright, coming out with authority because you are a joint heir with Christ. When you study and realize there is nothing which can separate you from the source of all good, then you know that what you give is not yours, but the Father's, and thus you know you cannot be impoverished by letting go of it. When man is born again, he passes along the way our Master went. First comes the birth of the new idea, then the grand and glorious awakening to the truth. Later, the baptism. Up to this point, the young overcomer makes big strides. Then comes the temptation, wherein he is thrown down from the mount into the valley of depression and despair. He has now his wings clipped, because he did not have understanding to sustain his ethereal flights. After his temptation, he starts upward again, more determined than ever to win and wear the crown. Temptation again dogs his footsteps and lurks behind him. But now he has the goal before him instead of the infinite steps leading thereto. As he goes on, from understanding to wisdom, he comes to the crucifixion, where the belief in flesh must be crucified or crossed out. This is the agony of Mount Calvary, where the whole world is against the pilgrim, and he is forsaken by all to work out of creation in matter. After this ordeal has been met, and man is regenerated and renewed, he has his resurrection from the grave, where material thinking has consigned him. The material man says, "You might just as well be dead." But the spiritual man realizes that the true happiness and glory are only possible when the material thought of creation is entirely stamped out and destroyed in his consciousness. After he is resurrected, he makes his ascension and knows matter no more as a reality. As you work in truth, you will realize that the spiritual man is so much greater than the poor material concept which you have had with you for so long that you could not recognize any likeness whatsoever. It is like an artist who conceives a beautiful picture in his mind and tries to reproduce it on canvas, but the best of them admit the complete failure and know that the real picture which rests in mind is infinitely more beautiful than their best efforts. So is it with the spiritual man. The material man which is seen is a poor counterfeit of the picture or concept held in mind. Chapter 4. A Thought for the Day. All cause is mental. The effect will take care of itself. If you want health, don't think sickness. If you want wealth, don't think poverty. All cause is mental. Make note of this, and take a check on yourself during the day, and see how many times you have slipped over into a wrong mental state. All cause is mental. The effect will take care of itself. I want to impress upon you the importance of this. Do you sow the cause of something today and then fuss about the effect tomorrow? Look to the cause. A muddy stream, when cleared at the source, will usually clear as it empties into the ocean. The effect will follow the cause. Everything starts in mind. If you don't believe this, just check over the things you possess, your health, your wealth, your happiness, and see how many of them are not traceable to some beginning thought. All cause is mental. The effect will take care of itself. Remember the commandment, do not kill. Hatred kills. How many times a day do you kill something by hatred? Hatred is also a burning, scorching fire, which consumes only the place of its origin. Love, the opposite of hate, is life. Love engenders hope and life. How many times a day do you stimulate new action by your love? Love is also a healing oil which soothes and calms and brings peace to the suffering heart. It is the direct antidote of hate. It cannot be repeated too often. I am the temple of the living God. Thought along this line will rebuild and renew the broken and fallen body, will cleanse and purify and strengthen the abiding place of spirit. How often do you enter your temple and drive out the money changers, evil thoughts, and those who sell doves, deceptive concessions to matter? Make a practice of entering each morning for prayer. He that seeth in secret shall reward the open. Man doth not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of God. Did you ever try to meditate upon this before you sit down to dinner? If not, try it, and see what happens. I can do all things through Christ which strengtheneth me. What do you want to do? The next time you decide to take a new step, meditate upon this truth. Then find out where the Christ is. Lo, I am with you always. I, if I be lifted up, will draw all men unto me. if you lift your thought to a oneness with the Christ within you, will not only attain what you wish, but will actually draw it to you. You will become a magnet for good, and only for. It is worth serious contemplation, this connection or contact with the Christ within. Try it. Do you realize that you are daily showing to the world what your thought is and has been? Your body is the practice ground where everything is displayed. Better start right now watching those thoughts so that the much-needed change can take place and the world can see your light before it hears your voice. Let your light so shine before men that they shall see your good works and glorify your Father, which is in heaven. Where is heaven? Think about these things quietly. Get away from the personal attitude. Some people identify themselves with disease until they actually lay claim to it. They will speak of my cold, my sickness, my problem. Don't monopolize all these errors. You might get a corner on them and find you had a poor product on your hands. Get the impersonal view of life and use good abundantly, but don't try to corner it. A little water becomes stagnant when cornered. The steam keeps fresh and purified. When you realize the power of thought, you will begin to know that the spoken word has a power which, when used carelessly, is a dangerous thing. A little learning is a dangerous thing. Guard your thought. Watch. Watch. Remember, sometimes we are able to put into practice, "He spake, and it was done." Repetition is necessary to discipline the thought. Do not become wearied because the same truth is presented to you in half a dozen different ways. We must overcome and master the old man, so that, when the prince of this world cometh, he will find nothing in me. He comes hourly. He is presented to you by every passing man who is not thinking right. Guard your thought that he find nothing in you. If you want to find out something about life, study it from all its various attitudes, first as power, then as love, then as truth, then as intelligence. Take these one at a time and see if the minutest part of the real thing is sifting through into your expression of life. Remember, God is the only life, and that means that God is your life, and that your life must have all the attributes of God. Take a check on this and see if you have any of them. Be very insistent upon this. It is worth it. Remember, you can always rise and go unto your Father, and that he will meet you when afar off. There is no such a thing as an outcast in the kingdom of heaven. You have a chance, in the desire to return to your Father's home, points you in the right direction. It is only a matter then of persistence until you arrive. Don't feed upon the husks of fear or doubt and condemnation. You are free-born. Assert your freedom. Arise and go to your Father very often. You do not need to fight. Put up your sword. The battle is not yours, but God's. Don't get the idea that you can throw anything on God, for there is nothing to throw. Cleanse your mind, and your problem will disappear. Don't think that idly drifting will get you anywhere. Resting means perfect activity and trust. Because the battle is God's, does not signify that you shall lie down to pleasant dreams, but that you shall be awake, waiting for the clarion call of victory. In the very place this finds you, even though you have fished all night and caught nothing, the abundance of God is there. And when you let down your nets, let go of material thinking, you shall not only catch fishes aplenty, but shall become fishers of men. You don't have to leave your present place to get rid of a problem. In fact, if you do, you'll find that the problem is the first one to greet you when you arrive at your journey's end. Overcome it here and prove that this is holy ground. You can do it. Gird up your loins. and set forth. Chapter 5. Now are we the sons of God. Have you ever claimed your rightful position in life? Have you ever tried to feel that you are the son of a king? When you think of the fact, I am the son of a king, something supreme and fine takes hold of you. You begin to realize a certain aristocracy, which is independence of crest, coat of arms, or family name. Suddenly and without warning, you feel yourself breaking through wall upon wall of doubt, limitation, fear, and worry. You throw off care and tear down the clinging vines of doubt, trampling underfoot such obnoxious weeds as fate and destiny. Oh, what a glorious feeling! What a new and perfect thrill comes over you when you realize that after all your earliest fairy tales are all possible and can come true. That you at last can live in the palace of the king with abundance of love and life, with the king's treasury open to you and you at your best, your finest, and in possession and giving expression to the wonderful gifts of love. And then you seek as one having authority. You say as you fill your lungs with a wonderful new life, I am that I am has sent me. I am. You repeat it over and over and slowly. A happy feeling comes to you that you are whatever I am is, for you and I am are one. Within the secret place of your being you go and commune with the Father, and from this place you speak your I am out. I am healthy. I am wealthy, I am joyous, and I am happy. Oh, what a thrilling and joyous feeling comes when you begin with the I am process, and when you realize that you are a son of the Most High, and are one with the Father. Your mind becomes supreme, your actions become supreme. You were born to have dominion to rule. All things are placed under your feet. What are these deep, rank growths of weeds, which have almost smothered you while you slept for a short moment? Their poisonous odors have almost lulled you into believing they were real, and that there was no escape from this awful condition. Yes, you say, my condition is this or that way. I am tied, so to speak. I can see no way out of it all. Every time I try to make a move forward, I get caught in the weeds, until I am a most miserable thing, unhappy and burdened. Awake, awake, awake. The blast of the king's trumpet is calling his son. Your condition is of supreme importance, like the beauty who slept for 100 years in the palace about which had grown up a massive forest. The prince, your divine heritage, has come to deliver you and claim you again. What a rejoicing there is in the palace and waste places, when the stir of life and dominion has again set it in order. What rejoicing and thrilling your poor life feels when it comes into its sonship. With one sweep of your mighty power, you cleanse from your mind all the binding thoughts which have held you in the pit and made you pay to the uttermost farthing. You are supreme. You are supreme. Your palace or body is supreme. It is wonderful. It thrills with a new life. It glows with new strength. Your divine self comes forth and asserts its power. It searches the joints and marrow, and chases all the shadows of fear and doubt of sin and sickness out. Awake, awake, awake. The trumpet of your hour is again sounding. You are free. You are in power and have dominion. Rejoice and be glad. I am supreme. When you come into the knowledge that you are a son and are supreme, then you become a miracle worker or a demonstrator of this truth. Your faith, which was as a grain of mustard, now flourishes as a mighty oak and covers 1,000,000 plains. You speak now with authority. Your I am advises and counsels you. As the idea is brought forth for manifestation or expression, be sure that idea of life is fresh, glowing, and beautiful. Be sure it is kept youthful, for youth is growth in the right way. Life has no cognizance of time. It is eternal and cannot be blemished, wrinkled, or made the timetable of material age. Drop off that old belief that you are so many years old. You are supreme and eternal. You record nothing but eternal youth. What are the attributes of youth, except strength, joy, and love? Have you these qualities in your makeup? Do you make people glad when you meet them? Do you radiate this spirit of youth? It is your province. Begin being joyful. If you would be strong, don't hold before your mind the picture of a starving Armenian. Get a grip on Hercules. If you would be young, don't ponder the looks of Methuselah. Take youth and hold to it. Saturate your thinking with that which you wish to see manifested on your body. If you were looking for a certain color, say red, you would not keep thinking about purple, but red would be in your mind, so that instantly it came into view you would recognize it. What you hold in mind will be drawn to you. Be sure you hold nobility in mind, for you are the child of a king. Forget, forgive, and bless all mankind. Rejoice and laugh. Refuse to ever accept any adverse condition. Keep smiling at them and refuse to let them grip you. I am a son of the king. I find myself free and joyous. I find myself happy and carefree. I find past conditions tumbling down and disappearing. No matter if I have dwelt in darkness and doubt, superstition and fear, for years, one moment, and I am free. I loosen the chains which have bound to me these heavy weights, and they roll down the mountain into the deep pool of forgetfulness. I trace these wrong conditions back to that idea which brought them forth, and then loosen them and let them go. I free those who have been bound, and am thereby freed and blessed. O glorious life, one with God, one with my Father, and one with the whole universe. Sing songs of praise and thanksgiving. Give yourself and your body over to a glorious service of praise. Praise your wonderful body. Forgive it of all those evil things you have accused it. Say to it, neither do I condemn thee. You are free. You are the temple of the living God. You are a glorious, radiant temple, beautiful to behold. I rejoice over thee. When you start this praise service, a herd of dirty, diseased, and sinful thoughts will scurry out of your mind, and with them superstition and fear, and enter the swine as a means of destruction. And you standing there, overlooking the sea of infinite strength, rejoice, rejoice, rejoice. Chapter 6. In the Beginning. In the beginning. What does that call to your mind? What do you think of when you say, in the beginning? Can you mentally take yourself to a place of hushed silence, where nothing was as yet manifested, that is, in the beginning? Then you move away from the beginning, you begin to see creation appear. Out of what did it appear? In the beginning, before a single plant or animal had come to light, there was naught but silence. The substance of the things hoped for is the material from which creation was made. This beautiful world of ours was made out of something, you must admit that. It was not drawn out of nothing or vacuity. It was formed and molded out of substance, thought substance which became visible. A perfect concept of a thing rested in the mind of the Father, and when there perfected, it was brought out into light and made a living word, or the Word made flesh. And so today, no thing is made out of nothing. You must have something to create it from. You must have substance out of which to make a thing. And when you take all this reasoning back to, in the beginning, you begin to realize what a wonderful thing this thought substance is. Just think of it. It is the foundation, or substance, cause and effect, of everything. Did you ever stop to think here a stick of wood really came from you? You answer, it grew. Yes, but even granting that it grew, it must have something to grow from, something out of which to form its visible substance. Certainly, the finished oak is in the acorn. But after all, just what is it that makes the cells and fibers and finally the solid oak? You say a man grows from a baby, or you say he unfolds. But what is it that supplies the material accompaniment of growth? Taking all this back again to, in the beginning, we find that everything first had its origin in mind, and that mind is the substance or formless something out of which creation was drawn. And the command, "Let there be," was the power which shaped it to its desired end. Before you can write a letter, it is formed in mind. You immediately set about to draw together the material, which goes to make up a letter. If you build a house, you first do it mentally, and there, the image of the thing rests eternally. Gradually, as you assemble the material and workmen, you see your image or mental picture brought out into the realization. So is it with the demonstration of health. You must first assemble the thoughts, or mind substance, out of which health is made. By carefully drawing your arguments, and laying a foundation to your arguments, you begin to see your image, or picture of health, made manifest in the flesh, and we have what is called healing. One of the greatest shaping processes which brings to a formed or framed demonstration this divine formless substance is faith. Of course you know this, and you say, well, after all, we are just where we started years ago, back to the idea called faith. But perhaps you have never stopped to consider just what faith means. When understood metaphysically, it surpasses the wishing and longing and becomes a non-resisting, unanxious wisdom, which relaxes and at the same time, which is keenly alert. It is akin to something positive, as when you turn on a switch, you expect the current of electricity to operate. So faith, when raised to the highest understanding, becomes a more positive motive power than electricity. Thy faith has made thee whole. Not thy longing or wishing or even in thy desiring, but thy faith. We need to cultivate the same faith as the woman who touched Jesus and received her healing, the faith of the man let down through the roof, the faith of the centurion. When we begin to realize that we are allied with the Father within, we begin to speak out this authority which this alliance makes possible. When one comes to you for help, they have faith in you, and that you can do the work. They are not seeking the material you, but the Father within you, which has for some reason or another been manifested to them through you. Hence they seek him through you. Remember that you had nothing to do with this decision. They are seeking him through you, because they either saw the Father in you, made visible, or else have heard others bear testimony of the fact. What is your duty then in this matter, but to say with the Father to your patient, thy faith has made thee whole, take up thy bed and walk. And if you dare to do such a thing in the holiness of this alliance, your patient will take up his bed and walk, healed and renewed. Be not afraid to ally yourself with your Father. Cease claiming the material parenthood. You are not a Jones or Smith or a somebody else. If that means you are to bear the badge of a material heritage, you are the child of a king and are to be about your Father's business. It may help you in your work to go back to, in the beginning, and clear your mind. Take it back to the time when nothing was yet made manifest to the world, and then start you let there be process of reasoning, bringing out only just what you desire to see manifested. If you desired to build a house, you would not hold in mind a cave or hut, but a finished house. So is it with health and wealth and happiness. You must hold your pattern shown to you on the mount in your mind continuously. At certain stages of building, a house looks not much more than a pile of debris. Yet out of this comes the finished product. The shell must be cracked and the cocoon must be destroyed before advanced stages of demonstration can come.
Perhaps.
It may seem like pestilence, want and famine to you at first, to step out onto this sea of material laws. But if your faith is fixed, forgetting your own life and keeping your eyes up, nothing but continued progress can come to you, and you will not sink. I shall arise and go unto my Father. This is the first step in returning from a far country. Rise up wherever this finds you, and return to your Father. He is within you, waiting to ally himself with you. All power shall be given to you through him, and the years or months of mistakes and errors shall fade away. And when you and your Father make a trip to the kingdom, you find the kingdom of heaven is within you. You go with the Father to the uttermost parts of it, and start building up the fallen walls of your garden. You say to the weak places, be strong, be renewed, receive your light. You speak life anew to the flesh, and see it manifested, fresh and pure, and with the vigor of youth. What are these wrinkles and gray hairs and poor eyes, but a withdrawing from a certain part of the kingdom, the substance of life? Can a balloon become deflated as long as the air remains in it? So is it with our bodies, until the God-mind releases the bodhbhara, the word made flesh of our body. It is impossible for it to show forth a single sign of age or decay. Now go forth in your garden and smooth out these lifeless places. Reclaim again the coming of the kingdom of heaven. Put age to flight by your knowledge that mine, life, God, you and your Father are eternally young and beautiful, and take no cognizance of time or conditions which are exterior to yourself. Not that which goeth in, but that which cometh out of a man defileth him. Think of this, dear reader. Suppose you smile. Does this condition take place from within or without? Within, of course, you say, and it is a voluntary thing. You are, in a slight measure at least, conscious of the mental effort when you smile. You do the same thing when a wrinkle appears. The unthinking flesh could no more record a wrinkle or produce a gray hair than a glass globe could, were it not for the voluntary or involuntary action of mind back of it. You can withhold or give a smile, and the same power is yours when it comes to the wrinkle, or a gray hair, or a weak eye, or sick body. And pressing it one step further, we add, or with a flat pocketbook. For in the beginning, everything was created out of something, and this something, you will admit, was mind or substance, and is infinite, everywhere present. Your Father, with whom you are allied, is the force or power which is able to call this substance into existence and shape it into things hoped for. You finish your product mentally. You commune with the Father and shape your desires and then speak them out into existence. No matter where this finds you, no matter what limitations have been set upon you, when you once ally yourself with the Father within and take your demonstrations back to, in the beginning, you realize that you have the opportunity of working everything out anew, or ridding yourself of objectionable conditions and bringing forth things anew. When a condition exists that is objectionable to you and which is not good, your I am or Father within takes his patterns to the ark, and then the purifying floods envelop the earth, body, and wash it clean of all conditions which are undesirable. The body is purified, and when the floods subside, we find the whole earth, body, fresh and new, ready to bring forth the pattern again. Behold, I stand at the door and open unto him, you truth seeker. Open your mind to him and let him out into your life. He is already within your heart and asks for admittance to the garden. Open unto him and ally yourself with him. and see worlds changed before your very eyes. My words are spirit, and they are truth, and they shall not return to me void. That is now your power. Do you understand? You can now speak with authority, for you are one with the Father. Be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. You cannot be transformed by anything exterior to yourself. This transformation must proceed from the within out. If you can so saturate your mind with youth and strength that it is oblivious to age, youth will sit atilt on your brow. When your mind is filled with happiness, one smile after another ripples across your face, almost without a conscious effort. This is the key to the whole situation. Saturate your mind with the idea, and cooperate with the Father within, with whom is neither shadow of turning, and who is already waiting to bring out into your life things which eye hath not seen nor ear heard. Go back to the place of in the beginning, and declare your divine parenthood. Disassociate yourself with so many years or such and such conditions. Get very closely allied to the idea that life is spirit, unchanging and perfect, and upon it no limitations can be written. Get very conscious of the fact that you are spirit, and that God is spirit, and this is your authority for aligning yourself with the Father within. Can anything be clearer then that you have right now in your possession all power, and that nothing can in any way hurt you? No matter if to sense you are a failure, poor, sick, under bondage to 1,001 fears or material laws. Behold, now you come into your own, and you can expect to see mountains melt and hill skip as lamb before this renewed understanding. No matter what man-made laws say about you, they may pin any one of a dozen things upon you. You may be under the ban of horoscopic law, which says certain things, because you were born on a certain date. But all this is as the light thistle down. It is blown about by the winds of mortal mind, and can only take root where it is given permission to do so. Until then, it is a mere nothing floating about without destination or aim, looking for lodgment where it may. The law of God, unchangeable and perfect, has made you free, and this is the only law you are bidden to obey. God is your Father. You are not under bondage to either family or race thought. You are only to inherit the qualities of spirit. What are these qualities? Behold, I stand at the door and knock. Let him out into your garden, dear truth-seeker. Ally yourself with the Father within. Dwell with him in the kingdom of heaven, and place yourself in oneness with this life-giving current. This is your heritage of joy. Claim it. Use it. Make it your own.